Availability for the opioid abatement strategy. This is for fiscal year 25-26. Today is July 9th, 2025. It is 9:04 a.m. My name is Angela Jones in the Office of Purchasing, and with me in the office,
I'm Chip Kirschenfeld, Natural Resources Department Director for Escambia County.
Elizabeth Kissel, Governmental Liaison with Escambia County.
Philip Miller, Program Coordinator with Escambia County.
and joining us via Teams, let's start with Travis.
Travis Simmons, Escambia County Office of Purchasing.
All right, next Drayton.
Drayton Smith,
you-
Ministry Village.
Thank you. Christy McKellen, can you introduce yourself and affiliation, please? Christy?
There we go. Hi, I'm
There we
Christy
go.
McClellan. I'm here with Bright Bridge Ministries.
All right, thank you. Next, we have Garrett.
Hey, Garrett Griffin with Escambia County Neighborhood Enterprise Division.
All right, thank you. Next, we have an 850-512-3140 number. Can you introduce yourself, please? The 850-512-3140.
This is Vinnie Wibbs, Troy Watts, and Melinda Heim with Reentry Alliance Pensacola.
All right, thank you so much. Next, we have Lexi.
Hi, I'm Lexi Osborne with Waterfront Rescue Mission.
And last but not least, we have Walter.
Walter Arrington, Community Health, Northwest Florida.
All right, thank you so much. Let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, can everyone see my screen okay? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
And that-
They're
All
staying muted like you instructed. Actually, can you go back over to the
Sure.
other one? I
Hold
think I
on.
want to go through the,
Strategy.
yeah.
All right, so go ahead, Liz.
All right, so for the opioid abatement funding for fiscal year 25-26, I'm just going to run through what our current funding availability is and our implementation plan, and then we'll go ahead and go through the timeline. So for the fiscal year 25-26, we currently have $1,667,629.89 available. Just a reminder for the opioid abatement funding, we do get additional funding every year. So this notice of funding availability will be released every year. And that funding amount will fluctuate, obviously, depending upon how much we award. We do not have to award the full amount. We will just award the ones that actually we feel like are qualified for this particular funding. So the opioid abatement strategies that have been approved for the fiscal year 25-26 pretty much are the same as what we did last year, if you're familiar with that. But we have treatment and recovery, prevention, and criminal justice are the three main categories. Down below, you'll see a chart that digs in a little bit deeper to each one of those. So for treatment and recovery, one of the categories is treatment expansion. Then you have recovery support. Underneath prevention, you have primary prevention and you have community. I will say we did get a couple applications for community last year that were just missing a few pieces that we were looking for. But I think that is a big one that we're hoping to fill this year. And then criminal justice. Criminal justice is not, cracking down on the drug use. So I'm going to go through this one in a little bit more detail just so you guys know what that one is for. So law enforcement funding and training for local police, drug task force, and efforts that prevent illegal drugs from getting to their destination. Community corrections, develop or expand drug or family courts and other law enforcement programs that help people using drugs find treatment and stay in the community. And then the last one is the post-incarceration social programs. So programs that help people recover from substance use disorder and reunite them with their communities following jail or prison time. And I know REAP is very familiar with that. So those are the goals of what we want this funding to actually do. Just a lesson learned from last year, if you are proposing something that does involve community partners to make sure that you do provide letters of support or MOUs or something so that it shows us during the application process that they actually are on board with your project and what you're trying to accomplish. All right, we can go over to the other one.
Okay.
So the other one is going to go through the timeline of this notice of funding. So it actually was released and advertised on Thursday, June 5th, 2025. Today is the application meeting, and I'm actually looking at the little chart.
Yeah, let me go down and find it.
There it is.
Here we go.
So today, Wednesday, July 9th, is the optional pre-application meeting that we're attending here just to kind of go over the NOFO. The deadline for any questions regarding the notice of funding availability are due on August 15th, 2025, which is a Friday. Those question and answers that you guys have should be emailed to the opioid abatement at myescambia.com email. It was right there at the bottom. There you go.
Yeah, it's highlighted in blue in the advertisement.
So any questions or anything you need regarding this, please email there. There are multiple people that monitor that email address to make sure we can get back to you quickly. So again, Q&A questions, those are going to be due August 15th. We will guarantee a response to all of your questions no later than September 5th, 2025. And then your applications are due on Friday, September 12th, 2025 by 5 p.m. We also had requested that for your applications to email them to that same email address, the opioid abatement at myescambia.com, no later than 5 p.m. on Friday, September 5th, 2025. If for some reason it is too large to email, you can email in multiple emails, just email 1, email 2, email 3. Or if you're having issues getting it submitted, just submit an email to that email address and we'll work it out with you. Right. And then there will be a performance evaluation and ranking committee meeting. And this is where our committee will actually meet to score each project application using the published scoring criteria. You can join this on Teams. That's going to be Tuesday, September 30th at 10 a.m. And the Teams link is already included in there. So if you plan on applying, I would just copy that, put it in a calendar invite so that you don't miss it. And then on Friday, October 10th, we will provide notice to the applicants of advancement to the Opioid Abatement Board for review. Just if you're not familiar with the opioid abatement funding process, it does go before the Opioid Abatement Advisory Committee first. Once they approve what they want to move forward, it then does have to go to the Board of County Commissioners for final approval. And then at that process, county staff would take over getting the agreements in place, the reporting requirements, and all of those additional things that will come along with that. One other thing that I did want to touch base on that came up last year was reimbursement request. So all of the
Is that in here?
yes. So this is on page 7. Right there, cost reimburse. No, don't worry there, sorry. The heading of it is cost reimbursement. There it is. Okay. So for cost reimbursement, so this is on a reimbursement basis, meaning that you are going to need to pay the bill first before you submit it to Escambia County for reimbursement. For reimbursement, you will need to be able and be capable of tracking the documentation. So if you're submitting something for reimbursement, you know, it's going to require the invoice. It's going to require proof that you paid that invoice. It's going to require reporting. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're doing this. But I did want to point out that you can submit reimbursements throughout the process. This isn't where you have to pay all of the costs and then you just submit one giant reimbursement. So the way we're currently doing it is there is a monthly report that is due. With that monthly report, you would be able to submit your backup documentation and invoice to be reimbursed on a monthly basis as well. That way you can kind of use your reimbursement for the next month worth of expenditures. So that may help some of you guys throughout the process. The other thing, since we're on this page, administrative cost, the max percentage is 10%. Obviously, the lower the better for administrative costs when we're trying to deal with opioid addiction, but that is in there. And then there is no match required for this particular funding. So we're not requiring that you provide a match. Obviously, matching fund looks better. We prefer that you have some kind of matching funds, or if you have an existing program that you're doing or something along those lines, obviously that's looked upon very favorably. What is there anything else?
Scoring criteria.
Scoring criteria, let's go. I think that's
I know it's in here. So,
scoring.
yes.
Page 10. Okay, so the scoring of your guys' applications in the notice of funding requirement that starts about, it looks like page 10. The fatal flaws, and we did see some of this last year. So applications that commit the following will be considered as having fatal flaws and will not be able to be given any consideration for funding. Applications received after the stated due date and time. Applications received from an agency not eligible to apply, and those are listed above. Or an application is not signed by the agency's official designated to executive contracts. Down below, it has the scoring. So we have the minimum requirements that are set. You have to serve Escambia County. Submitted the letter of determination from the IRS confirming that your organization is federally tax exempt. A copy of your current W-9. A copy of your organization's 2023 or 2024 tax return. You may submit a 2022 as long as you have an explanation for why it was filed late. A copy of your organization's most recent 2-year financial statements with an audit if you had it or needed it. Able to operate the program on a reimbursement basis. If you don't have the cash flow to get it started, it's probably not going to work. And then the ability to do quarterly reporting, and program includes at least one of the priority category strategies in Schedule A and Schedule B, which is what we initially went over in the beginning. That obviously needs to be part of the plan. There is the ability to get bonus points. So these are not make or break it, but this can kind of put you at the head of the game. Partners with public or private organizations or agencies that provide similar services. Just again, another reminder that if you are listing partners in your application, please make sure you have some kind of letter of support or MOU, just to show that they're aware of what you're trying to make them do. Other funding match. So if you do currently have some kind of other funding, you can put toward it. The program is specific and measurable. This one is big when it comes to the opioid abatement. How many people are you helping them? What are you specifically helping them with? Are you giving them MAT services? So something that we can actually look at and show, okay, this is where we started and this is kind of what did the money get us for? Provides free services to Escambia County, so your services do not cost extra to the citizens that need it most. And then provides a mobile unit. So you're able to get out to the people, and the people aren't necessarily required to be able to make it to you. So maybe you have a street outreach team, somebody who actually goes out to some of the homeless camps or can go out to schools or whatever the case may be, but you're able to bring your services to those folks versus those folks having to bring themselves to you.
And so for these evaluation criteria, this is exactly what the committee is going to be grading your applications over. And this is what we'll go over. The scoring here is what we'll go over in the performance evaluation and ranking meeting on September 30th.
The only other thing that I wanted to mention, if you scroll down, it actually has the application forms in here. If when you submit your application, you can submit them in this order, it makes it extremely helpful for the committee to make sure, one, we don't miss anything, and also helps you use it as a checklist to make sure you don't miss anything and that you get everything provided that's required for us to move forward with your application. And then the implementation plan is at the bottom of this as well, that we went over initially.
All right, we'll open it up. Does anyone have any questions? Insurance.
Yeah. One more
One
thing.
more. Hold on.
So for this, on page 7, this is also something that came up, the insurance requirements. So liability insurance is required for all grants. And I know some of you guys are dealing with this with various grants with the county right now, with Home ARP, the NOFA, for the opioid abatement last year. So just be aware that that will be a requirement. So you don't have to submit that with your application, but if you get awarded this funding, we will ask for that prior to, do we do that?
Once it's awarded, that's when we ask for the insurance.
So once it's awarded, then we'll ask for the verification of the insurance.
And what you can do if you don't have the current coverage, if you can get a letter of insurability and attach it to your application, that helps us know that you are able to get that insurance. So we won't have issues when we go to award it. And it does look like we're requiring workers' comp as well. If you have workers' comp coverage, you can, if you already have the coverage, you can send us the COI. If you don't, send us the letter of insurability. Or if you're exempt from workers' comp, send us that exemption. Anything else?
I don't think so. Does anyone have any questions or anything they want us to address that we didn't? Easy crowd.
Yeah, so we had Travis Tompkins join us late. Travis, can you just introduce yourself real quick, please?
Sure. Travis Tompkins, Escambia County Emergency Management.
Thank you. All right, going once, going twice. Anybody have any more questions? Because we don't have anything else. I don't have anything else to add.
And this recording will be posted on the website at a later date.
This is Vinny. I do have one question. Is it possible to get copies of some of the previous applications that were submitted like in last year?
They actually are all posted on the website. If you go to myescambia.com and you put in the search button, just put in opioid.
Here, give me a second and I can walk you guys through it. So myescambia.com. I'm sorry, go ahead. Hold on, let me get there. There we go.
And then see that search button in the upper right-hand corner? And you're going to want the Opioid Abatement Funding Advisory Board. And the NOFO is also posted on here. If you scroll down to the bottom, you have fiscal year 24-25 opioid abatement. This is last year's.
Okay, great.
And there's the applications from 24-25.
Hi,
Do we have any-
this is
Go ahead.
Christy McClellan. You mentioned at the beginning of this recording that some applications underneath the prevention component were not funded because they were missing some important pieces. Could you go give us more information about that, just so that we make sure that that we don't also not include those important pieces?
I think the biggest pieces that it was only a couple of things we had, but it was in those fatal flaws or in the list of, let me find it, hold on.
Checklist.
Yeah, there is. It was either forgetting to provide their financial information.
Where's the fatal flaws? What page was that?
Go to page 5 at the bottom. So page 5 at the bottom, it says applicant eligibility, and there's a list of things here. And it was one of these things we're missing. So obviously you have to serve Escambia County, the letter from the IRS confirming that they're tax exempt status, copy of the W-9. I would say tax returns were something that was missed last year. and financial statements, most recent 2 years of financial statements. Those probably were the ones that were missed the most. It was literally just maybe rushing through it, not necessarily that they did something wrong. But if we don't have something, one of those mandatory things, we can't consider the application, if that makes sense.
Sure, yes. So it wasn't necessarily a programmatic
No.
aspect. The
No, ma'am.
application detail. Okay,
Nope.
that's helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question as well. Would we be able to apply for a project that's in 3 phases? So since there will be funding available each year, say for this next year, we apply for phase 1 of it as long as it stands alone, and then phase 2 the next year, and then phase 3 the third year, and then that would complete the entire larger project?
Absolutely, as long as you know that when you're applying for funding, you're applying for 1 year at a time.
Okay.
And just because you get it this year doesn't mean you're guaranteed to get it next year. So keep
Okay.
that in mind while you're kind of phasing it through, and maybe ensure you have maybe other funding sources available too, just in case that were to happen. But yeah, as long as you can break it out into application periods, I don't see an issue with that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, anyone else have any questions? Drayton, Walter? I don't think we've heard from you guys. Okay.
They're experts.
Yeah, they're experts. And then you still have plenty of time for the question submission deadline. Again, please get those to the opioid abatement at myescambia.com email. And our team will get them answered and get the answers back out to you. Liz, did we post the answers? Did we post the question and answers? So we'll post the question and answers on our opioid abatement website as well. So if you missed it, or maybe you had a question or wanted to see what other people's questions are, we'll post it on this page as well. All right. Well, if that
Hey,
is
what I
all.
do have, since y'all are picking on me today, hey, I do have one thing, just a reminder, it may help someone else. If they're doing a building project, just to let you know that, just for an example, copper wiring is going to probably double in the next couple of months. So if you're doing a building project, we're running into that right now with our building project, that you're probably looking at whatever you were getting a bid on is probably at least going to go half as much more. So just a thought for anyone that may be doing a building project.
Good to know.
Yeah, thanks for that, Drayton. That'll help the county out. I'll let all our departments know it too.
Well, just yesterday, you're looking at a 50% tariff on copper wire.
Oh my
for your
God, that's a
electrical
lot.
needs. Yes, it is.
All right. Well, thanks for that. And anybody else? I think that's all we have. Again, look at your timeline. Make sure you have the insurance and look over the requirements just to make sure you have all your documents together. And if you have any questions, please submit them to us. All right. Thank you all so much and have a good day.
Thanks, everybody.